Since childhood, I have been raised and loved by my grandparents. Unfortunately, my grandmother passed away due to a minor accident. Around that time, I received a sudden message from Alex's wife, with whom I had lost contact for a long time. The content of the message was a request to take in my grandmother, who was supposed to have passed away 3 months ago. Although there are many things I want to say, my beloved grandmother has indeed passed away. I witnessed it with my own eyes. This phone call will lead to everything becoming clear. I am Elizabeth, 45 years old, and single. The last time I had a relationship with a man was during my university days. We eventually broke up, and after graduation, I joined a major cosmetics company. I worked tirelessly in the marketing department, where overtime and weekend work were the norm. Before I knew it, I missed my chance to get married. But that's not the reason for changing my job. 6 years ago, I switched careers to work as an office worker in a nursing home. In the past, I used to be jostled around in a crowded train that took an hour and a half each way, and I would be lucky if I could catch the last train home. Now, it takes less than 10 minutes by bicycle from my home. I have regular days off according to the calendar, and overtime is rare. But the real reason for my career change isn't related to any of this. I have never left my parents' home since birth. I have confidence in my financial stability, and I'm skilled at household chores. So why haven't I moved out? It's because I love my family, especially my grandmother. I was born and raised in New York. Our family consists of my parents, grandparents, and my older brother Alex, who is 5 years my senior. Just now, I mentioned that I love my family, but my feelings toward Alex are complicated. In the past, I undoubtedly loved him. He was a kind and caring older brother. However, Alex has changed. After graduating from college, he quickly started living on his own and joined a car company as a salesperson. 2 years later, he got married through an office romance. Since then, he has become more and more distant, never visiting our parents' home during Christmas or New Year's. I only know that he vaguely lives in Kentucky. I don't even know if he has children. When was the last time I saw Alex's face or had a conversation with him? It feels like at least 5 years have passed. Alex's last words to me were,
"Since becoming a manager, I've been busy. I'll leave everything related to our parents' house to you."
That straightforward statement left me with the impression that he's heartless. That's why I decided not to move away from home when changing jobs, to protect our family. Our parents are already retired. Our 93-year-old grandfather suffered a stroke a few years ago and, although he recovered, he can't manage without assistance. Currently, our parents take care of him. And then there's my beloved 92-year-old grandmother. Since both our parents worked, it was our grandparents who looked after us when we were young. My grandmother especially taught me everything I needed to survive. Although she can't venture far now, she's still lively enough to walk freely around the house. So, I chose to work in a nursing facility to be prepared for any situation involving my grandmother. One day, I was getting ready to leave for work when my grandmother called out to me from behind.
"Beth, you forgot something."
I replied, "Huh?" I didn't forget anything. But my grandmother insisted.
"Here, take some candy."
She handed me a few pieces of candy. "Ah, I see. Thank you." I smiled. Candy has always been a favorite of both my grandmother and me. I tucked it into my suit pocket and left the house with a smile. Then, a sudden accident occurred. My grandmother had a serious accident. According to my father's call, she had hung her laundry on the second-floor balcony as usual, but while descending the stairs, she slipped and fell. It was something I had always worried about. I used to tell her to leave the laundry to our parents and avoid going upstairs because it was dangerous. However, my grandmother had a stubborn side. She believed in doing what she could herself. No one was at fault. It was an unfortunate accident that could happen to anyone. What followed happened swiftly. My grandmother suffered complex fractures in her thigh bone and pelvis. Unfortunately, she couldn't be discharged from the hospital where she was taken, and just 4 months later, she passed away from old age. Of course, I felt sad. I cried and cried until I was emotionally drained. But I'm an adult now. There's no time to dwell in sorrow. I have to handle everything, including the funeral arrangements. My grandmother's roots were distant, and we had no close relatives to contact. Ultimately, our family decided to hold a funeral for her with only immediate family members. Well, I have to call Alex and his wife. However, I was foolish to think that they would immediately respond once I contacted them. Neither phone calls nor emails were getting through. I sent emails, but there was no reply. As a last resort, I sent a short message on my smartphone, and the response came on the day of the funeral.
I'm far away for work and extremely busy. I'm sorry, but I can't attend. I'll send money later.
Who cares about money? I got angry when I read the message. Could his work really be more important than bidding farewell to our grandmother, who had cared for us so much? It was utterly unacceptable. I placed flowers and some candy, her favorite, into the beautifully made-up coffin of my grandmother, who looked as if she were merely sleeping. From that moment, my perception of Alex changed. I began to despise him. Since then, the seasons have changed, and now it's winter. For me, spring, summer, autumn, and winter are all the same. I wouldn't mind if it were winter forever or scorching summer all the time. I've even considered quitting this job altogether. But my grandfather is still alive. And someday, my parents will also need care. I still have much to learn. On a weekday lunch break, my mind empty, I diligently continued working. Unexpectedly, I received a call from an unlikely person. If I hadn't registered her number, I wouldn't have answered. The screen of my smartphone displayed Amelia. We had only spoken briefly after a wedding, as far as I could remember. What could she want now? Should I ignore it? But the ringing wouldn't stop. With a sigh, I decided to answer the call. Hello, this is Elizabeth, I replied. Amelia hesitated before speaking.
I apologize for interrupting your work. I'm Alex's wife, Amelia. It's been a while.
Ah, yes. Despite being older and in a higher position, Amelia always maintained a humble demeanor. Even when Alex and I suddenly got married, she greeted not only our parents but also me with proper respect. In short, she's a good person. That's why I couldn't understand why she was contacting me now. It's okay. How can I assist you? I asked, trying to keep my tone as neutral as possible. Emilia continued.
I feel awkward saying this, but it's about your grandmother.
Is something wrong with my grandmother? My frustration slipped into my voice.
Under my husband's instructions, we've been taking care of your grandmother. However, it's been over a month since the promise time. Could you come and pick her up?
What? I genuinely couldn't comprehend what Emilia was saying. Wait a moment. That was the best I could say. So, Emilia is taking care of my grandmother, who died 3 months ago. This was the question I came up with after thinking hard. I know this is incoherent, even for me. But the same goes for Emilia.
Yes, your grandmother is with us.
What? She passed away? 3 months ago?
Her surprised voice sounded genuine. Can we both calm down a bit? I suggested, and Emilia agreed. A few minutes later, I regained my composure and carefully explained the circumstances that led to my grandmother's passing. Emilia's response, however, was perplexing. According to her, Alex's grandmother needed care, and they had taken her in temporarily until preparations could be made at our family home. This led to 2 possible conclusions. Neither Emilia nor I are lying. If this is true, then Alex is the one lying. I had anticipated that someone might tell such an easily debunked lie. But now, there were more pressing matters. I need to contact Alex immediately, but I'm almost unreachable on his phone. I told Emilia.
Even I haven't touched my husband's cell phone. But if it's just a call, I can use my phone while he's at home. Anne.
Emilia hesitated. And? I asked.
Recently, my husband has been working remotely more often. If I ask, he might agree to a video call.
While face-to-face persuasion had its merits, there was a problem. I don't even know where both of you are currently living. I pointed out.
We've been in Pennsylvania for over 10 years, so visiting your place would be easy.
Emilia replied. For now, we made a promise to talk to Alex via Emilia's phone later that night. Other strategies were also devised. With complicated feelings. After all, Philadelphia is just the neighboring state. How far would he go with his lies? Asking her to take care of a stranger's elderly woman just a few months after my grandmother's passing? It's too much. It's downright repulsive. I returned home and called Alex on Emilia's smartphone at the specified time of 8:00 p.m. By Emilia's kind offer and insistence, she's currently waiting in my bedroom. Despite my numerous attempts to contact him being ignored, Emilia's phone was answered soon. The speaker was on so that Emilia could hear the conversation.
Emilia, where are you right now? You haven't even prepared dinner.
His high-handed and arrogant tone. This wasn't the Alex I knew. It's me, Alex. I informed him.
Huh?
He was clearly confused. As expected, I waited for his response.
Elizabeth, is that you? Why? Where's Emilia?
I'm here.
Emilia's response was brief.
You! Why are you with Elizabeth?
Alex was momentarily speechless but quickly continued.
Wait, did you tell Elizabeth about the matter?
Yes, I informed her.
Amelia remained matter-of-fact.
I told you it was too early to discuss that.
Alex's attitude suddenly changed. The matter in question was undoubtedly about my grandmother. I've heard from Amelia that you've been working remotely recently. I interjected.
And what does that have to do with anything?
I could vividly imagine Alex's stern expression. From here on, why don't we continue the conversation face-to-face using a remote work app? I'll send you the ID and password. I proposed.
If Alex refuses, I'll take Elizabeth back home.
Amelia provided backup.
Fine.
Reluctantly, Alex agreed. I sent Alex the ID and password via Amelia's smartphone. After a short wait, his face appeared on my computer screen. He had gained some weight since I last saw him, but there was no mistaking it was Alex.
So, what's this urgent matter that requires a face-to-face conversation? I'm busy.
His audacity to continue lying at this point infuriated me. It's obvious, isn't it? It's about Grandma. You asked her to take care of my grandmother, who passed away 3 months ago. What does that mean? To my surprise, Alex responded.
Are you misunderstanding something?
His calm reply left me speechless.
Grandma's not dead. She's in my care now. And it was you, Elizabeth, who asked me to do that in the first place.
What? This time it was my turn to be speechless. Is he really that scared of Amelia finding out the truth? Can people really be so despicable? And it's the real Alex. I'm so angry that tears come to my eyes. But I sent a short message too, I said tearfully.
I don't remember. Besides, Grandma is here. Should I bring her over?
Please do, I replied. Alex was completely unapologetic. There was no time for tears. Alex stood up and returned a few minutes later, accompanied by an elderly woman in a wheelchair.
Look, Grandma, say hello.
Elizabeth. It's been a while.
The elderly woman spoke hesitantly. This charade needed to end. My anger surged once more. She's a completely different person. In reality, the elderly woman on the computer screen bore no resemblance to my beloved grandmother. Besides, my grandmother always called me Beth, never Elizabeth.
Appearances change as people age. She might be showing signs of dementia lately, so it's no wonder your memory is fuzzy.
Alex was determined to stick to his story. In that case, you probably won't accept a death certificate as proof, I retorted.
Of course. Nowadays, documents can be easily manipulated.
His defiant smile irritated me. But I had prepared my own strategy. Then I'll show you some evidence. Just wait a moment, I said, leaving the room. A few minutes later, I returned to my bedroom with the evidence.
Ah, Alex. It's been a while. This disobedient child.
Grandpa? But you were bedridden.
Alex's eyes widened at the sudden evidence.
I was prepared for death at one point. Even now, I can't go to the bathroom without assistance. But my mind is still sharp.
He continued.
I've heard Elizabeth's side of the story. The woman on the screen is my wife?
Ridiculous. My wife was more beautiful.
Ah.
Cornered, Alex hung up the call. He was probably trying to exit the remote session too. Emilia, who had been silent until then, finally spoke up.
Are you running away, Alex? To Elena's place, perhaps?
Even through the computer screen, I could see Alex's face turn pale.
What?
I've suspected this for a while. Alex, you underestimate me.
Emilia's tone was firm.
Your grandmother often mentioned Elena. Of course, that's not my name or my mother's name.
Well,
I also confirmed with Elizabeth. She doesn't recognize the name Elena either. I've been certain for a while. I even hired a private investigator to look into your affair.
what?
The results came quickly. Photos of your affair. Proof that your grandmother is Elena's grandmother. You were preparing for our divorce, weren't you?
It all began with Emilia's woman's intuition. Alex, or rather, Alex's high likelihood of being involved with another woman, his affair with a coworker named Elena in her late 20s, his decision to care for Elena's grandmother, who had dementia, to gain favor with her, and his plan to burden my family with her before she entered a facility. He used every means to divorce Emilia without admitting fault, remarry Elena, and secure a future. Emilia gathered evidence of all this and reached out to me. Honestly, Emilia is an incredibly intelligent woman, far beyond what her appearance and demeanor suggest. If you have something to say, go ahead, I asked Alex, emphasizing that I would only listen.
I'm truly sorry. I didn't mean to deceive you. Neither did Emilia. I'll end things with Elena. So,
Alex apologized through the screen. My sharp-witted grandfather chimed in.
Technology has come a long way. Even your tear-streaked face is visible from a distance.
Grandpa, please help me.
Fool! I never want to see your face again after using my wife, neglecting my cute granddaughter and your wife. This is the end.
Elizabeth. You too.
Right now, the most important person in this house is your grandfather. And by the way, I never want to see your face again either, I retorted.
Emilia.
The divorce proceedings are already underway. I'll return to my parents' home, and we'll meet in court next.
Well then, that's that. Goodbye, Alex. As I finished speaking, I clicked the exit button on the remote conversation. The seasons changed. I stood alone at my grandmother's grave, mentally sharing various updates. Alex divorced Emilia, and naturally, Emilia was advantageous. Alex ended up paying an enormous amount in alimony and even sought refuge at my parents' house once. But with my sharp-minded grandfather's authority, he was effectively disowned. Apparently, the will even stated, Alex is not family. As for Elena, she hoped to remarry Alex, but the real world isn't so forgiving for a divorced, debt-ridden man in his 50s. In the end, he quit the car company he'd worked at for years, now living in a cheap, cramped apartment, working day labor jobs while continuing to pay alimony. In these times, it's hard for a middle-aged man with no qualifications, let alone negative savings, to find new employment. It's all karma. Most of the information about Alex came from Emilia. Since then, Emilia and I have become friends, meeting quite frequently. And so, as I stood up and said, "It's all over, Grandma. See you later," a strong gust of wind blew. Simultaneously, I heard a voice I loved very much.
Beth. Thank you. Take care of your grandfather a little longer, won't you?
Grandma. I suddenly realized I was tightly gripping something in my right hand. There, in my palm, was a piece of candy. That's strange. I hadn't brought any candy today. I'm not one to believe in gods or ghosts, but perhaps my grandmother is still watching over me somewhere? No, it's probably just that I unconsciously put it in my pocket before leaving. But if I consider that my grandmother might still be watching over me, I feel like I can keep going in life. Thank you, Grandma, I whispered, looking up at the sky, and left the cemetery.
How did you like this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.